Welcome back guys. So in this video I'll be talking about different topics, starting with Xenia Android emulator for Xbox 360. Now this is a post available on emulation on Android subreddit page. A screenshot of Red Dead Redemption running on Xenia Android emulator. Now it's not exactly the game running on the emulator. It's just a bunch of GPU commands for a single frame, quoting the programmer of Xenia themselves. Again, this is not the entire emulator. Code translation for ARM processor is currently not implemented at all, but just GPU commands for a single frame dumped from the game running on Xenia on Windows, the Windows version of the emulator, executed via Xenia's GPU emulation on a Qualcomm Adreno 730 device using Xenia GPU Vulkan traceTime tool. Adreno 730 GPU. This means the processor was Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Tegra should be fine as well, but Mali and PowerVia would also need a lot of work to provide fallbacks for Vulkan features not supported by those GPUs. All in all, it's not the entire game running on Xenia Android emulator, just a single frame. Xbox 360 Android emulation still has a long way to go. It may take up to 2 to 3 years for any public build to be available. After carefully examining the image, I noticed some graphical bugs in the background. As you can see, these textures are not rendered properly. Moving on, the Playstore version of GTA Vice City has been delisted, at least in my region. I am from India. Just searched for the game and could not find GTA Vice City. The other GTA games are still available: San Andreas, GTA 3, Chinatown Wars, Liberty City Stories. Now the question arises, why this happened? According to the insiders, this might have been done in preparation for the release of GTA Definitive Edition. The same thing happened when the PC version of the game was about to be released. The older GTA titles were delisted from Steam. But here's the thing guys, the PC version of GTA Definitive Edition was full of bugs. It took some time for Rockstar to fix these bugs. Due to this, the Android version of GTA Definitive Edition was postponed. It was supposed to be released in 2022. But that did not happen. It will be releasing in 2023. It is also being said that the Android port will be based on the Switch version of the game. Switch version received some downgrades, lower quality reflection and shadows. If you had purchased the game and installed it on your device at least once, you should be able to download and play the game again. I do own GTA Vice City. Let me just show you the procedure. Open Play Store, tap on your profile icon here. Then just tap on the first option, Manage Apps and Device. Here tap on Manage. Then just tap on Installed here, select Not Installed. Search for GTA Vice City in your library. As you can see guys, there is GTA Vice City. I just selected it. Install. Alright, the game installed. Let me just start it. Alright guys, the game has started. This is the game running on my Poco SE Pro Android 12. So this is the procedure of downloading and playing the game even after it getting delisted from Play Store. If you had purchased the game but did not install it on your device, you may not be able to access it. Moving on to AetherSX2 PS2 Android emulator, a new update has been released. It's the stable build version 1.1-2468. You can download it from Play Store. This is the Patreon page of AetherSX2. Here the developer has summarized all of the new features with this update. I have already covered some of these features as part of the closed alpha builds. I'll quickly go through these features. You can apply for the beta tester from the Play Store page of AetherSX2. You can also leave anytime. First feature, add touchscreen swipe binding. Here developer has explained how to do this. Expose controller dead zone setting. I have already shown you this. Set default sensitivity to 133%. The developer found that the default sensitivity was way too low for both the touchscreen and Xbox pads, preventing the stick from being positionable at 00 top left. This manifested in the inability to run in some games depending on the direction. The old way of fixing this was to tweak the axis scale yourself, but now the default should be sufficient for most all of the games. Multi-port support, multitap support has been added. After enabling the multitap for port 1, you will be able to access 4 ports. As you can see, port 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. Same thing for port 2, 4 more ports will be accessible. So theoretically it enables you to have up to 8 players. Now I have 3 working controllers and I have already tested this multitap feature, works very nicely. I tested it in games like Smackdown, Here Comes the Pain, Urban Rain and Downhill Domination. In Downhill Domination I was playing using split screen, you can check out that video. Not every game supports multitap, bear in mind. Add pressure modifier button, I have already shown you this. Basically to simulate the soft pressing of the button. Automatically switch to 16:9 aspect ratio when widescreen patches are enabled. Add VI register caching for VU recompiler and some other micro optimizations. This will help in improving performance in some games. They have explained it in very detail. Do give it a read. And you can see they have compared the performance. It is version 1 compared with version 1.1. Device used is Poco F3 Snapdragon 870 processor. Improvement in performance noticed in games like Final Fantasy X, God of War Part 2, Ratchet & Clank. You can see the FPS here. Now quoting the developer here, this is not a case of it just needs more optimization. The recompilers utilize many tricks to reduce the amount of work, but you still need a fast CPU. Sorry, but your little Cortex A53 is never going to cut it. So please stop saying AetherSX2 is unoptimized. Give them time. Developers need to work harder. There's never going to be a 5 to 10x improvement in performance in these scenarios, which is what you'd need. So guys, if you have a potato device, changing the settings won't work. This is what the developer is trying to say. Reduce GPU target sizes where possibly, likely safe. This improved performance in Burnout 3 and maybe some other games. Improve hash cache performance slightly in some games. Improved performance in Star Ocean 3. I tested this game on the closed alpha build. It was running very nicely, even on mid-range processors. Move several graphics settings to the advanced tab. I have shown you this as well. Show which automatic fixes are disabled when manual hardware fixes are enabled. This is a very useful settings. Quoting the developer, the games work fine under the default configuration, but if a user has messed with the hardware fixes, by enabling manual hardware fixes, these games will break. Now we display a notification on startup when manual hardware fixes are enabled, including which fixes are supposed to be used for the running game but haven't been enabled. This enables a user who is manually setting hardware fixes to easily enable the appropriate settings for the game to run correctly, or just disable manual fixes. Many times we encounter some graphical bugs in a game that can be easily fixed by tweaking a few settings. Now we would get to know about these settings. Add aspect ratio aware cropping option in graphics setting, as you can see. Fix incorrect hashing of some overlapping textures. Fix ISWR to 0 effect. Ape Escape 2 startup crash fixed. You can now enable the LOTS CRT TV shader in graphics setting. Fix 3ds texture loading in OpenGL render. Hide GPU usage when it's unusable. Older Mali drivers. This issue occurs on my Realme pad, MediaTek G80 processor. GPU usage is not shown at all even if the setting is enabled. Zero transfer buffer in disable hardware download mode. Fix game properties covers when started from launcher shortcut. Quoting the developer, this was a bug present since the first AetherSX2 release. If the app had not previously been loaded, game properties was inaccessible when starting a game from a launcher shortcut. This has now been fixed. Expose all half bottom override half pixel offset modes. Yeah, I have already shown you this. This helps in fixing the ghosting issue. That's all for this month. What an amazing emulator. Kudos to the developer. Now I have some news for you regarding the cloud version of Genshin Impact. We know that this game is available on GeForce Now cloud game streaming service, but it is not playable on the mobile version of GeForce Now, only playable on the PC, Chromebook and Mac version of GeForce Now. A lot of people were wondering why this game was missing from the mobile version of GeForce Now. Here's the thing guys, this game is all set to get a cloud gaming service soon, which will enable players to run the game at the best settings even if their device is not powerful enough. Now we all know how demanding this game is. Even the high-end processors that are able to run the game at maxed out settings heat up within a few minutes of gameplay. It depends a lot on your ambient temperature as well, but it is still one of the most demanding games available on Playstore even after years of its release. It is known that the developer of the game has been playtesting Genshin Impact cloud gaming service for a while now. The beta program was initially launched in China back in August last year, and since then it has managed to be quite well received by fans out there. If initial feedback is to be believed, the cloud gaming service is quite well and allows players to play in both 30 and 60 FPS modes. What's more interesting is the fact that it allows players to experience visual effects which are only available on PC. Now guys, I have showcased many cloud gameplays. The games don't work on an Android device. Our device's processor does not do the heavy lifting. A good internet connection is required. 5 GHz band Wi-Fi channel or an Ethernet connection is recommended. Generally the 4G mobile networks are not recommended. They usually have high pings that can lead to high delay. The games run on the servers of the service provider. Our input signals are transmitted to the server. On the server they get processed. The output is transmitted back to our device. While the Genshin Impact cloud gaming service was play tested just on iOS, it should be noted that it should eventually roll out on Android as well. During the beta program, the pricing was around $10 for 30 days of unlimited playtime in China. So one can expect that the pricing would be the same for the global audience. Moving on to some PC gaming news guys, this is the Steam store page of Assassin's Creed Liberation HD, and you can see the recent reviews overwhelmingly negative. Let me explain the situation. Last week Ubisoft announced that it was shutting down over a dozen games online DLC and multiplayer servers later this year. This mass decommissioning of content included Steam users losing access to a completely single player game, Assassin's Creed Liberation HD. The game was delisted from Steam and a notice was posted at the request of the publisher. Assassin's Creed Liberation HD is no longer available for sale on Steam. Please note, this title will not be accessible following September 1st, 2022, meaning after 1st September 2022, you won't be able to play the game even if you already own it. This resulted in a huge outcry from the community. Ubisoft is not new to controversies. This is another one. After the backlash, things have changed. The game is available on Steam again and the notice has been updated. Part about it no longer being accessible was removed. As you can see, DLC for this product and online elements and features will become unavailable as of 1st September 2022. The base game will continue to be playable. You can purchase the game. Just showed you this for GTA Vice City Play Store version. Even after the game was delisted, I was able to download and play the game as I already owned it. But Ubisoft was trying to deny it for Assassin's Creed Liberation. As usual, ending the video with a free PC game. You can grab Wonder Boy, the Dragon Strap from Epic Games website for absolutely free. I'll give its link in the description. Offer ends on 21st July 2022. So make sure you grab it before the offer expires. I'll end the video here guys. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.